Welcome back everybody once again to Super Metroid YPR. And finally we are getting to the end. So, Lower Norfair obviously is quite golden and interesting. It's actually a very interesting looking palette. And a little bit different, we can't go that way. There's only one power bomb on those pedestals. I'm wondering if there's other items that would appear if you didn't collect them elsewhere. Sort of like how Redesign did the energy tanks before the heat run. I am not exactly... I mean, I don't know, obviously. This is the... I only played the hack the once, so... But Lower Norfair is actually pretty straightforward, and it blocks off the left path. If you remember, you don't actually have to go there in the original game. You just end up going to Gold Chorizo that way, which then obviously gets you screw attack and whatnot, but you don't have to go there. So this just eliminates that, and the reason being actually deals with something else in the hack. So the random missile hiding in bubbles. Very easy to get to. That would have been better hidden if the bug popped out of there like the other one. But I mean, even with wave beam and plasma, you see that, so. Say why you needed to do that. Who knows? But it's there. So, not too far along in here is where we actually end up getting to the very interesting mini-bosses. Mini-boss slash bosses. It's not too far along. Just finding ways through hidden paths and such. And just because. Lovely gold pirates. They just sort of blend in with that a little bit. Now there's obviously that door there. I don't actually know what's back there because there's kind of an obvious path here that I ended up taking instead, which turned out being the way you have to go. So if you were stuck in Lower Norfair, maybe that was why. I don't know. And don't worry about taking too much damage. Just as long as you don't die. Because there's an energy refill and missile refill even, which is a very good thing. Right around these mini bosses, which is a very good idea. So we now have 11 energy tanks. That is not the end of the path though. You have to find this to actually beat the game. Which again, that's no big deal. It's a hidden path. This is going to be your favorite save station for the next... for the rest of the hack, this will be your favorite save station. And these will be very useful refills. This is the mini boss of sorts. It's actually 4 different whatchamacalls. There's kind of faces in the walls or whatever. There's one face, here's a different face. Then there's a couple more faces. And a locked door down there. This is actually really interesting. It's a very interesting way of doing things. That door down below remains locked until you've defeated all 4 of the quote-unquote mini-bosses. which consists of pretty much regular enemies that are super powerful. And I do a very, very poor job of that with these guys. Especially when they get distimed. Distimed, there's English. Yes, I do very, very bad at this. You would think I would do a little bit better, but no, I don't. And so that guy just finishes me. Which is why this save station is very well placed, and I have no issue with the difficulty of these bosses, even though they're really not that difficult. Those pirates are actually probably the hardest ones. 2 of them are not hard at all. But there's a save station right here. You've got energy refill and missile refill right outside before you go to any of them. So as long as you've been collecting a decent amount of items, you'll be alright. So I'll go over here. I decided enough gold pirates. Let's see what's over here. And we have a vicious, super powerful key hunter. He deals a ton of damage. I believe it's 2 energy tanks per hit it's dealing. And I am being very bad at avoiding it. And just jumping right into it, because why not? Yeah, it's dealing 2 energy tanks per hit of damage, so that's a whole lot. But this is actually a lot easier than it appears as well. Except for that part. But basically, this, due to the room layout, you can really, I guess, sort of, I wouldn't call it cheating, but cheese your way through that guy in particular. And the other 2 are pretty much nothing. The other 2 are the 2 easier ones. And the key hunter really isn't that bad. So this time, when you go in here, and the spikes, getting hurt on those will give you invincibility for a little bit. And they deal far less damage than the key hunter. So use that to your advantage. Run across spikes. Don't get hit by key hunter. That's really all there is to this guy. Now if you didn't do this, end up like the first time I tried it, and that, as you saw, worked out very poorly for me. But don't worry about the acid, because it doesn't deal that much damage. So yeah, 1 mini boss down. Another little interesting change with that is as soon as you defeat 1 mini boss, you cannot go back into that room. Instead of a door there, it's now just solid tiles. So that is another interesting and nice little change. And I decided I would be smart and actually save after defeating him. Again, very conveniently placed save station. And this is actually a really cool part of the hack. This, I think... So yeah, I was trying to go back in. It's just a solid wall there. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's like some code or whatever runs that after you defeat it, makes those tiles solid or whatever. And this guy is very easy. Just don't run into him. Because his other stuff deals 1 damage, but he dealt like 4 tanks, so. And try to conserve, I would say try to conserve your supers, because you have a missile refill that refills your missiles, but not your supers. So you have plenty of missiles, use those. Supers might help speed things up, but they're really not necessary. So as long as you're jumping around not on the treadmills, you're fine there. Because his attacks don't deal that much damage. And as always, just to take all necessary precautions. Energy, missiles, save. It's very important to do that. So yeah, this is actually one of the very interesting things about this hack. This whole... like no other hack that I know of, that I'm aware of, does this whole multiple mini-boss things for one door. It's definitely unique. It deserves some props for that. Now the ninja pirates, these guys, they're just a little bit harder to deal with. They shouldn't. Basically, you can use, if you can get them timed with each other right, which is hard to do, you can use this take damage from spikes thing to give yourself invincibility. And I would actually recommend supers on these guys. That or your plasma beam, because the missiles really they're not worth it doing that much. As I find out this time. You can get refills on these right away, but it's not really worth it. Just because your plasma beam deals so much more damage. And here's something you will see, especially in the final video. And I'll go ahead and explain what I'm doing now with reserve tanks. I'm manually putting the energy into my energy tanks from my reserve tanks. For a very specific reason. Because when you get hit and it activates your reserve tanks, that hit that took your energy down to 0 and caused that to activate gives you no invincibility frames. Which means you can get hit right as soon. You're hit basically right as soon as your energy gets refilled. So you're basically getting hit twice. So you get hit, you get down to 0, it takes the energy off that it should from your reserve tanks. Then it hits you again, which lowers your reserve tank health even more. I don't know if that's an oversight with the programming or if that's just reserve tanks being bad, but that's the reason I do that, and you'll see more of that when I'm fighting Ridley. So instead of deciding to die to pirates again, I decided I would check this one out. This is the easiest one. The music's a bit enthusiastic, but literally, just stand in the middle, turn left to right, and fire. And you have explosions everywhere. Little zooming gamers exploding everywhere. Now, I think they deal an energy tank's worth of damage to you when they hit you, but they can't really reach you if you're doing this, so you just get to see lots and lots of explosions. And this is really the easiest one. It's interesting, and I do like how kind of crazy it is with the explosions from these little guys, but it shouldn't be that much of a threat. So yeah, that was that. And the door is still locked. Now at this point I was actually just wondering about that door. I was trying to figure out if it really did open after I defeated all 4 of these guys, which thankfully it does. But at the time I was thinking, like, that's kind of interesting and crazy, so like there's a whole dead part through most of this hack where it's just, ugh, can't believe I'm still playing this. And now there's actually a lot of really interesting stuff going on. So this time, I actually do manage to take care of these guys. And like I said, plasma, supers, they're all better than your missiles. And this guy should be gone very shortly. There he is. So that is all for Guardians. I would think I would call them just because they're special, whatever. Which did indeed unlock the door, I guess, not open it. And that is actually going to do it for this video. It's very interesting. I wish more of the hack came out more like this instead of what most of it has been like. But that's actually going to do it for this video. We will see you for the final video where we will take on some Ridley.